Okay guys, now we're going to cover shadow boxing, also an exercise you can do at home, and you're going to be doing this in any kind of warm-up for striking class, MMA class, etc. But again, shadow boxing, similar to shadow wrestling, is a great way to get a good exercise in, a good sweat in, and also just work on your technique at home, or if you have a mirror, to look at your technique as well. So we have Sophia here with us. She's going to go over some of the fundamentals of kind of shadow boxing, and we're going to go over some kind of key tips here that you need to focus on. So one of the first things you need to pay attention to when you're shadow boxing, okay, is making sure you're always visualizing that somebody's in front of you. Meaning, you don't want to start on one side of your room and end up on the complete opposite side, okay? So you want to try to pretend like you have somebody visually in front of you that you're fighting, you're working with, you're training with, and that's very, very important when you're doing shadow boxing, just like shadow wrestling, so there's purpose behind it. So Sophia's going to move around a little bit. She's going to shadow box. If you notice, she's in a nice stance here. She's got her hands up nice and high. She's practicing her punches. She even used a little bit of an angle here, switched her stance, which is totally fine. She's throwing punches. You saw she threw a knee, and she also looked to throw a kick. When she punches, whether she's punching or throwing a knee or kicking, she's always keeping a good stance. She's not ending up on a complete opposite side of the room, okay? She can also use footwork like she is now, cut angles. She can circle with her punches, okay? She can take kicks and then always end up right back in her stance. So whether she's punching or kicking, just how she starts is just how she ends. She's never out of stance, thanks, okay? Something else that you can be conscious of when you're shadow boxing, okay, is making sure too that you're making your head move sometimes and switching up your angles, all right? So for example, Sophia switched up her angles a couple times, but after she throws a punch, she's gonna move her head too periodically, making sure her head is not on a center line. So when you shadow box, you don't wanna move your head excessively, but you also wanna make sure you're not just a target for your opponent. Okay, so again, Sophia's throwing punches, she's moving her head, and she's also rolling her shoulders, which is important. Thanks, Sophia. Okay? But when we kick and we're shadow boxing, we have a couple different variations we can do. Okay, we can do a full kick where we commit all the way through and spin through. This would be if I was committing to a very hard leg kick or just looking to cut through my opponent, okay? These kicks are typically fast, but when you commit to this kind of kick, you have to be willing to throw your hips all the way through. And that's how we do like a full 360 on this kick. So if I have my hands up here and I'm looking to throw a combination, I might throw a jab cross hook and end with my rear kick. When I throw my rear kick, notice how I spin all the way through and come back to my same stance. Okay, like I said, I typically want to start and end in the same position. Very important, okay? However I start is how I want to end as well. So my hands are up again, I can throw my jab cross hook. Off of that hook, I come back through, I open up my hip, and I kick all the way through, end up back in my stance. I can also throw a kick where I throw it more snapping out. So I don't fully commit, I bring it right back. So I can throw a cross, kick, come back. Okay? Cross, kick, come back. So you can spin through or throw it more like a snapping kick. Then you can throw a kick where you do a complete flip of your stance. So I can throw a rear kick, and after I throw the kick, I will rotate to the opposite side. Okay? All these variations are giving me options for what it would be like to realistically kick an opponent. Sometimes when you kick, you're chopping all the way through your target. Sometimes when you kick, you're throwing a very quick shooting kick, okay? Bringing it right to the body and not looking to necessarily commit all the way through. Sometimes when you kick, you have to abruptly change an angle, and that's why I'll throw a kick and then immediately drop my leg and switch my angle, okay? So now again, I'm going to put Sophia back into a shadow boxing scenario. She's going to move around just for a few seconds, putting everything together. Throw your kicks, throw your knees, throw your elbows, and just look to chain your attacks together. So again, though in the beginning this can be very kind of awkward for some people, once you practice long enough, you're not going to feel so uncomfortable. It'll be something that feels very natural to you. And again, shadow boxing is something that is so important for when you're training, to work on your techniques, to work on your movements, and just to get comfortable with striking overall.